Hello everyone, and welcome to the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm of course your host TJ. Today I want to talk a little bit about my two books, Country Road Romance, A Bond of Blood and Stone, but I want to talk in particular about sort of where my niche is as far as romance. If you know anything about writing romance, or really any genre, but specifically romance, you sort of have to go for a niche that sort of defines you as a writer. And for me, it's not just about like what my settings, which, you know, I'm writing right now a romance set here on Delmarva, the Eastern Shore of Maryland, but it's also a place-based romance. Like I want people, when they read my books, whether it's my romance or whether it's my romantasy, to not only fall in love with my characters, I want them to fall in love with the places where these stories take place. I love Appalachia and West Virginia. Obviously, I'm from there, but I also love Delmarva, where I've lived since 2018, and I want my readers to see those spaces too. And I think it's especially important because we tend to, not always, but we tend to believe that like rural and small town areas are sort of antithetical to queer romance, queer joy, queer life, and queer love. And I don't think that's the case. It is sometimes a challenge, but it is not impossible to find these kinds of things in these spaces. And for me, I want my writing to reflect that. I want the stories I write to be about queer joy, but I want it to be queer joy that is grounded in the places that mean a lot to me. And certainly the place I was raised, the place that is now my sort of adopted home, mean a lot to me. So if you read, say, Country Road Romance, I do hope that you fall in love with West Virginia, both with Huntington, where one of my main characters, Jared, is from, but also the Northern Panhandle, where Jared and Charlie spend their magical weekend. But it's not just West Virginia, it's all kind of rural areas that get left out of these conversations. It's very specific, but also I think you can extrapolate that to other rural areas. Similarly, if you read A Bond of Blood and Stone, I want you to feel like you love the province despite its sort of beleaguered and oppressed state, but it's a place that you feel like you can love. And I want that to be true of my next book, Hitting the Right Note, which also takes place in West Virginia, so pre-order that on Amazon if you haven't already. But also my current project is Pisces Seeks Virgo, which takes place here on the Eastern Shore in a fictional town called Ocean Haven. And I love the Eastern Shore of Maryland for much the same reasons I loved Appalachia growing up. And so when you read these stories, when you find out how much these characters love each other, I also want you to feel like, you know, this is a place you could call home too. And, you know, I think that there's something maybe a little utopian about that, but that's, I think, the power of romance as a genre, is it gives us the tools and the feelings to imagine the world perhaps as a better, brighter place than it is sometimes. And to me, that just seems like a very important thing now more than ever, that we don't have to leave always the places we love. We can instead sort of reimagine them as we would like them to be, and perhaps make that come true in the real world. So if you haven't yet, do check out my books, Bond of Blood and Stone, Country Romance, and Hitting the Right Note, available next week. Anyway, thanks as always for joining me. Take care, y'all.